Hey you guys, how you doing? How's it going? Let me make sure all this stuff is working. Let's see here. Okay, you guys bear with me. This is new for me. Okay. Can you guys hear me okay? All right, all right. So I'm going back and forth on my monitor, just trying to make sure everything is good. So listen, we are like super excited. We had Miss Marshawn scheduled to come. She is having some crazy car stuff going on right now. So she is really sad that she couldn't jump on this live. But I said, you know what? We are gonna keep this party going because you got people out there that are um trying to figure out how to date while quarantined. So um I don't know. You guys, so I'm looking in the comments too. I can see in the chat, are any of you guys actively dating right now? So if you put stuff in the comments, I'm gonna call your name out and I'm gonna, tell everybody what you're saying. It might show up too on the Facebook comments as well. But yeah, I need to hear from you guys. So we need to give Marshawn some feedback about what you guys are doing right now during the quarantine as it relates to dating. I'm going to share some things with you that she did share with me to give to you guys. So, but I need to hear from you first. Okay. So, who is actively dating while quarantine right now? What's your story? I need to hear this. I am going to wait for these comments. Let's see. Dree, are you dating right now? What's going on with you? How is it looking for you in the world of dating? I don't know if my responses are delayed too, so I'm gonna have to see. Hey, Megan. Hi, Michael. Okay. Is it delayed? Is there a delayed thing going on here? This is weird. I'm using a new program, so I'm trying to see if you guys' comments come through. So I'm on Facebook as well, seeing how this works. Okay, Michael, that's cool. So you're interested in doing so regardless of the quarantine. Okay. So were you actively in the dating scene before? And what I might do, if you guys are interested in me pulling you in on a dialogue, then kind of like lift your hand in the comments and I will totally invite you into this conversation so people can hear what you got to say. So I can go back and forth with you guys in the comment section and pull you in on the video cam. If you're by your video camera, I'll pull you in and I'll start asking you some questions in front of everybody. So go ahead, Michael. Hi, Ali. Hey, Blake. So let me know. Let me know. Were you in the dating scene before? Drew, you're dating long distance. Okay. Hey, Connie. Okay, these comments are delayed. Who is gonna come in on this live? I need to see some signals in the comments because I'm gonna pull somebody in on this video. Let me see. Dree, what you doing right now? I'm gonna pull you in. I'm gonna pull you in. What you doing? What you doing, Dree? Cause I got questions. I need to get this back and forth going on. Let me see here. Y'all, we about to pull Dree in on this conversation. She didn't even know she was about to be in a conversation, but she is. Because Dree has the best stories. All right, Dree, I sent you a link. You're gonna get in on here. All right. You guys, this technology stuff is like super new for me. Okay, I sent you the link, Dree. I sent you the link. Okay, Ali, that's fair. That's fair. I got some pointers for you about how to do it. I don't even know how people are dating with this whole quarantine thing, but um, I guess we'll see, how it works out. So wait, Dree, you gotta click on the link. I sent you a link in your messenger. You gotta click on that link. You guys bear with us because I feel like a I feel like an 85-year-old with this technology trying to figure everything out. Like I'm in a room by myself, but I know that's not the case. I know you guys are with me. I know you're with me. Let me put my glasses on. You guys bear with us because it's about to be a good conversation. All right. Okay, Michael, look, I'm saving all y'all's questions. Wait a second. Because we're going to pull Dree in there on this too. All right, Dree, click on that link. Like, I don't think it should be, this is like a whole new situation. It's crazy. Okay, I think she did it. Yay! Hi!
I'm driving.
What's up, girl?
Hey.
You guys, we got 2 for 1. We got Jasmine and Dree. Oh, this is awesome. Okay, it's about to be good. Okay, y'all.
On the camera. I just talked. She wants to talk about her experience. So.
Y'all cute though. Y'all cute. Okay, Dree. So before we start letting people tell us about their experiences, because some people have been posting some stuff, I think people need to know you are like Miss Black San Diego with pulling the Black community together and connecting people and helping to create love lives for folks. So let us know how dating for you has been here in these parts of the woods.
Okay, well, I'm dating someone in the Bay Area currently. I find dating long distance is better for me because being the founder of San Diego Black Professionals, I find it is very hard for men sometimes to adjust to my popularity and the things that I do because I'm always busy. So if they come to town and we hang out, then it's kind of like a honeymoon. We can hang out, they can go back, and then I can go there. So it works for me better than for most other people. So with this quarantine thing, it's been working great. He was scheduled to come here this weekend.
Okay. How long have you guys been actively doing this long distance?
Of course, he can't. Connecting and exactly should look like because I'm not a traditional person, so what people normally do traditionally doesn't always work for me, but I don't try to fit into a mold. I just do what works for Dree.
Okay. So some of it broke up when you were saying he was going to try to come during the quarantine, but I guess
he was going to come for the quarantine. He was going to come, but since it was quarantine, he couldn't get here. So we're just talking now instead of us what we was going to discuss when he was here. We're discussing on the phone now about what the relationship looks like to us. Neither one of us are traditional people, so we refuse to allow society to determine what our relationship looks like.
Okay. So what would you just define traditional being and then like non-traditional? Because I feel like nowadays, like it's just people are doing all types of stuff. So what makes your situation non-traditional?
The fact that he's in a whole nother city, and I'm okay with it. I don't have to have someone under me every single day. I don't have to roll over next to them every night. That doesn't bother me. I'm secure enough to be okay with that, and he is too. He's being and I'm busy too, so he's never the one who's monopolizing all of my time because I can't monopolize all of his time. So we respect each other's boundaries, and we talk a lot. We just discuss what works for us. Traditional to me is a person that has to be in the same city, you have to see them 2 or 3 times a week or every day. You have to be with them all the time, and that's not, my personality doesn't fit that. So I've learned how to deal with my personality and stop trying to be what I'm not.
Right, right. Okay. That makes sense. That makes
And
sense.
Bree is also over the singles ministry at her church.
Yeah.
So she can talk about that too.
And one of my topics for the singles ministry is, why do we date the same people with different names? Like we might date a Bob, a John, a Joe, and a Malik. All different names, all physical appearances different, but their personality is totally the same. So I
Yeah.
ask people that, and I'm like, once you figure that out, then you can figure out who you're supposed to be dating, and stop dating the same personalities and getting into the same crowd.
Yeah. So what do you think what do you think? Because, I think this quarantine is causing a lot of people to just like sit and chill out. You know what I'm saying? Like
That's a good thing.
just regrouping. Yeah, I feel like we all just had to take a big pause button. So people are chilling, they're regrouping, and while they might be anxious about getting out into the dating scene, maybe this is a good time to start assessing why, they're picking the same types of people and maybe some patterns they really didn't want to come to terms with. So
Exactly.
is that something that you had to deal with?
Yes, because I started listening to Sarah Jake Roberts and her husband on how they met and their different ways that the things that they do to get inside themselves to create a good relationship for themselves without allowing society to determine what their relationship is supposed to look like. So I'm like, yes. So I've been watching them a lot and just different relationship people, figuring out what works for me and what doesn't work for me. Because we keep, like I said, we do the same thing, expecting different results. That's called insanity. And I don't think any of us are insane. We're just so used to traditional things. So do what works for you and stop figuring out.
Yeah. So with you doing like the whole the meetups and things like that, what were some of the patterns you saw with people while they were dating? Maybe not so good patterns, but
with guys, San Diego and in the world in general, there's always more women than men. So you find the men who are dating 2 and 3 people throughout the group, confusion, and then women are getting their feelings hurt because they think first person they meet is their forever love partner, when you should date people. Dating is a process of getting to know someone. It's not just, oh, I see him across the room, he's going to be my husband, I'm going to have 5 children by him. That's not always true. It's more not true than is true. So my form of dating, and a lot of people laugh at me for this, but I believe in a pair and a spare. 3 different people that I rotate. I'm not talking about sexually, but I rotate to get to know who they are. Some of them take me to dinner.
Wait. What do you call it again? What do you call it again?
I call it a pair and a spare.
A pair.
Where you have 3 people. Yeah, you have 3 people.
Yeah.
And you rotate between those people until you figure out which personality fits your personality. Because everybody's personality don't fit yours. They look might fit yours, but their so you go out with them a couple of times, exactly who they are and who you are in the scheme of things, then you eliminate people one by one. And sometimes eliminate all. Let me start over. But
I like that though.
I'm not talking about being intimate with people, but just getting to know people.
Well, so it's interesting you say that, because based on TV standards, like I think a lot of people assume getting to know somebody includes immediately hopping into bed and playing house. And I don't believe that's the case.
Me either. That's how people get caught up in something they don't want to be in. Because once a female gets intimate with a man, the whole thought process changes. A man's most of the time stays the same. But once we let them inside of us, or we're in love, we're about to buy a ring, we're about to be looking at dresses, we're telling our girlfriends, oh my God, I found the man of my dreams. And that's not always so.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree. I love LaToya Luckett and her husband's love story. It was so cute. I don't know if you heard it before, but basically she had just gotten out of her divorce. She was married before. LaToya Luckett from Destiny's Child. And she was over, marriage or whatever. She just basically was just like, I've been picking the wrong person. And she got tired of trying to pick herself. And so what she said was, I need your help. God, I need you to pick him. I can't do this. So she wasn't like through with dudes, but she was just part of her process and how she was selecting. She had a couple of failed situations. And so apparently a mutual friend of her husband at the time. So there's this guy that I think he really like, you know. She showed him a picture. She thought he was cute, and she trusted her friend enough to go ahead and go, you know, and move forward with this. Well, the cool thing was she saw his picture, but he never saw hers. So she told her, "Don't show him my picture. Don't tell him my name. Like, don't tell him what I do. And we're just gonna talk." So he called her. She said, I think they said within like 3 days of their phone conversation, they were like reading through the book of Proverbs together. They prayed together every day. And so this went on for a couple of months. And so twice he asked her for a photo. And the first time she sent a picture of her wrist. And the second time he asked, it was so beautiful. The second time he asked, she sent a picture of like some meme, some like ashy foot or something, some ankle, you know, wasn't even her foot. So he kind of caught the hint, like, let me stop asking her for pictures. So he said he just loved her voice so much. He just knew she had to be beautiful. So like I said, this went on for a couple of months, and then he knew he wanted to see her in person. So he had a daughter, and he was like, you know, can I see him? So she's like, all right, she liked him a lot. And I think if I remember correctly, she flew out to wherever she was going. She was in that, you know, and she had a car pick him up, like a limo. She was in the back of it, and that was his first time seeing her when he got in the limo. And he was like double in love because he had had a crush on her for a long time. He didn't even know it was her.
That's funny.
So like they completely turned their relationship over to God. Like, you know what, God, and they kept him first in the time that they spent together through prayer and like reading the Bible. Just sure God was in the center of their relationship.
Well, that's great. That is amazing. That's the key. You gotta keep it first.
Yeah. So I think the older you get, because maybe we're not always taught the right ways to date, start taking what we see on television and hearing from friends and trying to implement that in our dating scenarios, and it gets convoluted and we get frustrated. What do you think the best thing about this quarantine time is for people that are actively dating, like they can't go to meetups and hang out? What's your observation?
He said, I don't. Sorry, Trina. We're pulling up actually at the Jacob Center because they're giving a free food giveaway.
They're giving away food.
So we're here. We came last week, and I had enough after I sorted through what I wanted. I still had enough leftovers for 4 of my neighbors. So
God, that's amazing.
Yeah. So
is there a line out?
Yeah, there's a line, but you know, it's worth the wait. And then even though this has nothing to do with relationships, I guess it kind of does. Like, I mean, how you relate to other people as well, even if it's not romantic, because one of my neighbors is a grumpy old man and and he's just like real grumpy about everything, but I've always spoken to him, always been nice to him. And then, you know, when they were allowing all the seniors into the grocery stores for like 7 to 8 o'clock in the morning and nobody else was allowed in, he would get like toilet paper and water and give it to me just because I was nice to him. So, you know, and now because I'm able to get groceries for him, I bring it to him, you know.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, so it's awesome. Yeah, I mean,
they're absolutely trickle over to relationship talk because it shows that you are a selfless individual and that you care about people. So I think
put me on, girl. Put me on. No.
So you guys, I got another person. Do you guys want to hang out while I bring another person in?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me see if he's ready. Let me see if he's ready to
you don't have to wait in line.
Conversation. I love this program. This is just genius. I'm able to like add people.
This is amazing. Yeah. I love it.
All right.
I want Marshawn to do a book club thing like this. This would be great.
Marshawn, I love her. Marshawn is amazing. I'm gonna share her points that she gave me afterward. Michael, did it work?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Yay! Hey, oh, you not gonna get on the camera with us?
I'm on. No.
Sorry.
Did it work?
Should be on. Yeah, I'm on the camera as well, right?
No.
All right, 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah,
No, that's so weird. I wonder why.
I can see you. I can see Dree and her counterpart. I can see the dog.
You can see
Okay.
the
Say hi, Cooley.
I
Well,
don't
you
know,
guys,
Cooley.
it's Michael Martin's on. So he's saying, Michael is saying in the comments, thank you for chiming in, Michael. This is so impromptu. We're gonna make this work. We're gonna make this fun. So you were saying that you're basically you're in the space now where you want to date.
Yes. At the same time, you asked how are we dating in the quarantine?
Yeah,
I'm dating myself. I'm falling back in love with myself.
I like
So I
that.
can be, in fact, ready for her whenever God sends it to me. So I'm making time for self.
Yeah, that's important. I'm glad you said that. So, what are some things you're able to do with yourself that you weren't able to do before, maybe because you had a busy schedule?
I'm glad Jack said. Just before the quarantine, I actually was on the fence with dating someone. When I say on the fence, her and I both had a mutual. There was a mutual understanding. We were filling each other.
You guys you guys mute your nope, I got it. Hold on.
All right.
No, you're good. You're good. I want to make sure you
Yeah. So we were both on the fence of taking that next step, if you will. But at the end of the day, it was decided, it was mutual, that we were better off friends.
Okay.
In lieu of pursuing something more. That said, as that moving forward from that gave me more time to reflect on not necessarily what went wrong, what went right from this. What did I learn from that interaction with her to prepare me for her, as I like to call it? I don't know who she is. So during the quarantine, I've had more time for reflection. For my how I will initiate conversation with her, as well as when we have conflict, how to argue constructively. Now, I'm gonna pause for a moment. I got a chance to read Marshawn's article last year in regards to the dynamic of the relationship and the barometer of how it will last. Well, it's all about how you act in conflict. So during this time, quarantine is allowing me to figure out how I want to argue constructively, how I want to disagree in harmony. Still doing so knowing that my relationship will survive the conflict.
I think that's amazing, though. That's a good point to bring up.
All right, thank you.
Is that something you felt you would have done like a year or two ago? Have you always been in this mindset, or did it take, some steps to get to the point where you said, you know what, let me reevaluate, reassess, and then see what it is that I want from me and then the relationship?
I'm glad you asked that question. The process or evaluating the process is something that is principled within my approach to life, both professionally and personally. So now I haven't found myself paralyzed by analysis. Paralysis by analysis? No. I do reflect, but doing so briefly and moving forward with the next challenge in life. So this time last year, 2 years ago, I was still reflecting and having the internal dialogue on making sure that I know who I am before I can try to be with someone else.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah. I like that. So do you feel when the quarantine lifts, you'll stay in this space, or you really just going to fill it out, just kind of listen to your inner self and see how you're adjusting? Because the whole thought too could be that people are really anxious. So like when the quarantine is over, they're just like, let me get back out there,
Right. Once the quarantine is lifted, I'm confident that one way or another, we'll all of us will all embrace the change. What I'm gonna do during this change is remain steadfast and patient, because I know he's there. It's just a matter of time before we meet. So, yeah.
That's a good outlook on, and I said, I want to ask, does any of your spiritual thinking play a role in the steps you're taking towards relationships?
It does.
Okay.
I consider myself eclectic, but the premise of my approach is remaining patient, but at the same time asking those questions and wait on the response. Make time to ask the question.
Yeah.
Being asked the question, what do you want? What you want, you will receive, but ask the question. Now, I'm more patient with the result.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
One of the things that Marshawn was recommending during this process, Dree, if you can come off the thing.
Okay, and I wanted to tell him I agree with him. That's what we've been doing as far as learning how to argue, because you're gonna argue, you're gonna disagree, and so our conversation with me and my boo out of town is, how do you argue? How do you get past all of that? How do you not be rude and disrespectful when you disagree? To me, that's the key, because it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So I love your comments, Michael.
Thank you.
Well, let me ask both of you guys this before I go into some of Marshawn's stuff. So, like when you're dating, you get into this this cloudy space where everything feels good and you're giddy and you're happy, and then things kind of settle after a while. Is there anything you can do to kind of draw yourself out of that fantasy phase into reality as quickly as you can, so you can see everything for what it is?
Drake? Okay.
Go, Michael.
Sure. The giddiness of the newness, definitely, the newness feels good. Yet, I'm mindful that things are subject to change. So, enjoy the newness, bring the newness into the new evolutions of that relationship. Just be mindful. I'm making sure that I'm mindful that our relationship will evolve, and the newness won't be as new. Stay creative, stay balanced, stay in love, find a way to stay practical, that although things are going to change, if one is willing to work at the relationship, it will in fact work itself out.
That's cool. What about you?
And I agree with him. Again, I'm gonna quote Sarah Jakes Roberts and her husband Torrey. They were talking about how they keep it real, because she says, because all of us are damaged. We're all damaged goods from how we were raised, how we've been treated, all different relations we've been in. And whenever she finds herself acting outside of herself, like if he says something, it triggers something in her brain and she quickly responds in a negative manner, she'll think about what she said. She says, not that I don't respond negatively, because it happens. I'm human. But then because she's done work on herself, she will realize it's not him that's triggering her. It's whatever happened. So they would process it and apologize to each other for whatever they did that did make sense. Because you're gonna disagree, but it's how you disagree.
Yeah.
So yeah, the honeymoon phases goes quickly, but you can always bring it back as long as you delve into yourself and don't be combative so quick. That's the key. You love somebody, you have to always quote what love is. When you say, what is it, 2 Chronicles, when it tells you all what love is, it's slow to anger, quick to love, all those things. You just keep that in your head and always refer back to it, and it allows you to love people, be vulnerable, and love people the way they are. This is Prince behind me, because we're
Hi, Prince.
How you doing? Okay. Ain't no Benjamin gonna stop my love for y'all. We trying to feed the community.
You better feed them. Prince.
What you want? The potatoes? What you want? Greens, beans?
I'll take out greens, beans, potatoes.
No, Chad, do you need anything? We have some bananas. We got some potatoes. We got coconut water gone. Peaches. What you want?
I want the fruit. I want a fruit basket.
Okay.
I want a fruit basket.
Are you gonna get it to her? Yeah, I get it to her. Well, okay.
And see,
You know
we
what,
keeping it real.
You said, I know, I love Prince.
This is during the quarantine, taking care of the community during the quarantine.
Listen, and trying to make relationships work.
Yes.
Prince said your dad is here, China.
Your dad's here, China.
I want to run my dad my fruit. Run my daddy my fruit.
She said, tell her dad to bring her the fruit.
No, give it to him. I'm gonna pick it up. I can't. No, I'm gonna get it from him. I can't tell my daddy bring it to me.
Okay. So she'll give it to him.
Yeah, I
don't want to get in trouble.
Lord, you said something really interesting, Dre, that I like. You said that we could. I can't remember the word you used, but basically, get through the newness aspect. Get through the honeymoon phase, but we can bring it back.
Yes.
I think that's an aspect a lot of people forget, and that newness comes, and that whole, fuzzy feeling arrives, but then people don't know how to maintain it once you get to the real about who somebody is. Yes, Pastor Reggie put the scripture up for Corinthians 13. This kind. But people don't talk about how to bring that back in. So I think what I like, some of these things that Marshawn listed for dating during the quarantine, is things that will allow two people to get to know each other.
Yes.
Without the pressure of jumping into the physical intimacy too fast, because I really feel like that can cloud stuff too quickly. Now, if that's not where you at, some people are doing hookups. That's their business. And if you're looking for a serious relationship, I feel like I love what she listed here. The first thing she said was you can watch a movie together. I think that's cool. That could spark a lot of conversation. Do a little
for you.
FaceTime. Yes, Michael. Yes.
I actually sat at your symposium for the media, Black in media. So I'd like to ask this conversation to today's group. What is our love story? Watch a movie together. What is our love story?
I love that you said that, because I think we tend to think about, depending on the age demographic, we'll think about look at God, you gotta work. Yes. Sorry, Michael, I got happy about the box. I think Love Jones, depending on the demographic, could be one. The age group. But I would agree with you, the fact that it takes us a long time to try to think about that. Some people would say Love and Basketball.
Yes.
Love Jones for sure. I don't know how people were feeling about The Photograph, that movie. Do you have a particular story that comes to mind?
I would the household name, of course, is or the conventional title would be, of course, Love Jones. But again, if I was to watch a movie with someone, I would want to know, would this person know of the background of Love Jones or Love of Basketball? Yeah.
I guess for me, part of it too is like most movies end up with just like a makeout scene that turns into sex like pretty instantly. And I get that the movie's only like an hour and a half, 2 hours, but like, dang, like, can we do other stuff than like, this big emotional scene? And then I guess for me, I didn't tell my story, but right now I've been online dating, and it's been really nice because online dating can be pretty scary because you have to eventually meet a person in person. And it's like, but at this point we can't meet. So it's like, perfect. Let's actually get to know each other. And then, and then it keeps a lot of that like super intimate stuff out of it. And including most recently, this one guy that I connected with online. And yeah, I mean, we would talk every day and that would be really nice. But then we started uncovering some things that he's not ready for a relationship and other things like that. And he basically had the just friends speech with me. And I'm like, great, that sounds perfect because you're not emotionally ready to date me. And we haven't done anything that took our friendship or relationship too far romantically that we can come back. So I think that's the thing is like, you can be friends with the opposite sex, but then a lot of times you just jump into this whole different situation before you're ready for that.
Yeah. Do you in regards to what Michael was saying, do you feel like we have any other stories, our love stories, outside of Love Jones and Love and Basketball?
You know what? I just thought of the She's Gotta Have It on Netflix. I mean, she was having sex with all three of these men, but they were all very completely different. And then it was just like she connected with each of them in a different way. And then
she scared
part
me.
of the, what'd you say?
She scared me. That's what She's Gotta Have It did. She scared me. I was like, people really rocking like this?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it keeps you from being too emotionally, and as women, we're very emotional, which is our strength and not a weakness. But it sometimes can get us into trouble because then we start emotionally falling for somebody that we shouldn't be. And I think that's what that, She's Gotta Have It, along with my personal life, has gotten to the point where you're able to balance like reality and emotions and like people actually pursuing you versus people just wanting to be in your space, and all of that, where part of it, she ends up having all three of them over at her house at the same time. Like, all right, let's talk about this.
That encore was pretty
so
deep. That was deep. Michael, have you seen She's Gotta Have It on Netflix?
I'm going to watch it from a different lens. I watched it as a youth, as a teenager.
Oh, not that version.
I'm going to watch it again as an adult.
Okay, not the black and white version.
There's a newer version.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a series now.
Okay, no, I'll check it out. No, I haven't. I'll check it out.
She was very expressive. So that scared me. That free love, it scared me. It just did.
What? Why? Put some words to that emotion. Why did it scare you?
Well, if we're talking about relationships and then including sex into the situation and all the emotion that comes with that, I think there could be this misconception that sex is just a recreational sport. I mean, it is a great workout.
but one sport at a time, right?
What I'm saying, like, you should. I should be working out with the same partner. Like, she was rotating folks. Like, and I was like, is this really how people are getting down? And maybe I'm under this frame of my religious beliefs too. You know what I'm saying?
You have the right frame of mind, China. Because people are doing what she's doing, but you have the right frame of mind.
I mean, but also one of them was broke. Also, one of them was married, and also one of them was just like completely self-absorbed.
So she didn't get like the whole man in one man.
Right.
I mean, but they were all not good men at the end of the day.
Yeah, none of them were fit for her.
And that's been mostly my experience. My experience out here.
What is a good man? What is a good woman?
That's a good question, Michael.
A good quality, and then you end up like, actually, I don't like any of this quality that you have. And so, as nice as they can be, one is married, one is broke, and another one is completely self-absorbed and obnoxious. Like, none of those three were actually good people today.
But that's that pair and the spare I was talking about. If you take away the sex, if she hadn't had sex with all of them and just got to know them and realized that none of them fit her personality, then she could have saved herself a lot of time. Because none of them fit her.
A whole lot of time, because they was active. So that's part of my concern. Like, because she had discovered all that without all the recreational activity, right?
Yeah. And then
I think this quarantine is going to allow us to redefine our priorities with those needs that need to be met: carnal knowledge and the spiritual needs.
Michael, I hope that's the case, because I fear that people are going to come darting out the races. You know what I'm saying? Like, when that gate opens, folks going to be like,
Right.
I want you, and you in an hour. I don't know. They got
natural tendency. But at the same time,
Yes, it will be.
I have yet to see this series, but what I'm hearing is the woman promiscuity celebrated, or is at least the focus is on that. At the same time, media has promoted slash celebrated men's conquer of the woman's body by being able to, for lack of better words, run through a lot of women.
Yeah.
So whether regardless if we were trying to find the one or just trying to have a need met, many of our movies are centered around the masculine sexuality, its ability to have several lovers. So this woman, again, I look forward to seeing the series. Sounds like she's doing the same thing that the man was doing, but just finding it, countering it by not having those emotional slash woman tendencies.
Yeah. So Reginald White says a lot of conversation and a lot of real questions is key, and I feel like a lot of people, I'm not gonna say everybody, but maybe it depends on the age and experience. Sometimes people that have been married before are usually better on getting straight to the chase as far as what they want in a relationship. Maybe people that haven't been tied to that type of commitment, it takes them a little longer to come to terms with the fact that they maybe want something a little different than the person they're involved with. They don't want to risk that fear of not being with someone. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely feel like that open, honest conversation early on is huge. And then being honest, if you don't know how to have that conversation, getting some help with that dialogue. Like, maybe a dating coach, therapist. I don't know. Maybe there's such thing. I wish Marshawn was on so she could tell us, because maybe that person could help people assess, like, y'all dating, but should you really be dating since you don't know how to have those conversations?
Is there a difference between dating and courting? And if it is, are those concepts really constructs? Are they being challenged in regards to how we move forward?
I feel like courting is what happens after you date. Like, courting starts when you say, this is my understanding. Courting starts when you say, we've been hanging out a lot. We both want the same thing. We want to move forward. And said Google a question. Did you say Google the question, Reginald? Courting is when you say, hey, you know what? I think we both want to take this to the next level. Let's exclusively move towards marrying each other.
I'm interested to hear Reggie's perspective since he just got engaged. Congratulations.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Reggie, you want to talk to us too?
Put him on the screen.
I'm trying to see how I can. Hold on, let me see this.
But while you're doing it, I want to comment on the movie. This is not a Black movie, but it's a series called Outlander. To me, that movie is the epitome of what love is about. It's not us, it's them, but it's about how they go between centuries, like 200 centuries back. And then it's up until 1968, how their love transcended centuries, because she would try to go back into 2,000 years ago.
She froze up.
Is it Outlander? I'm gonna check it out. Thank you. Again, this quarantine is giving us a chance to find other resources of redefining those relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't have been able to do things like this had this quarantine not been in effect. And again, not saying that priority wasn't on being ready for her, but this quarantine has given me time to find other ways of being ready. Yes, thank you. Go ahead. I'm looking forward to the story. Outlander.
Okay. Yeah. So that's what I think. Love is doing everything that it takes to be with the person you're supposed to, that you want to be with. To be with you. It's not one-sided.
Yeah. You were describing it though. You said she would leave and come back, like she would try to come back to him or something, or it broke up when you were describing Outlander, what the specifics were. Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Is it working?
I can hear. It's like you're muffled.
Really?
We're gonna come out and come back in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Come on.
So yeah, Michael, I think you brought up some really good, but there you are. It worked. You brought up some great points. And I feel like hold on, it takes two people giving yes, Reginald, it takes two people giving 100%. I think using this time of quarantine to date yourself and to be honest about where you are and what you want and what you can tolerate will save a lot of trouble in the end. And you won't waste somebody else's time either, because that's the other thing. I think nowadays people have a fear of being alone. You know, people are scared to be by themselves, and maybe being by themselves ends up unearthing some things they don't have to deal with. Like just sitting in a room with silence is amazing, and facing your thoughts. And if things come up, like what is it that I need to address that's come up, in my space. So that when the quarantine lifts, maybe there's not this anxiousness or this urgency to go jump in somebody's bed per se, or be in a relationship just for the sake of being in one, but to say I'm comfortable by myself, and if we're hanging together, we can discuss the terms of what that looks like. And if we agree on those terms, cool, but I'm not in this because I'm desperate, and not having that self identity can lead to desperation. So
you said the B word, desperate.
Yeah. And then that could push people into this whole, like, my biological clock is ticking. I have to hurry up and get married.
Mhm.
All bad.
I mean, well, I guess I'll speak for the childless generation out here. Because yeah, it is a different experience when you don't have children, and you are in your 30s. It's just special. It's just very interesting because a lot of people that I know that are in my age group that are single with kids are good and don't want no more kids. But then,
oh, it's breaking up. I think they're driving through a bad spot.
But yeah,
okay, you're back. So you said a lot of people your age don't want kids.
Well, if they already have kids, teens or 20s or early 30s already, then they're good and they don't want kids even though they're single. And people like me, I don't have kids and I'm single. I wouldn't say for me it's a pressure. It's just like, God has like given me the desire for children. And so it's just interesting, just being patient and, desire to be married, desire to have children. But then, yeah, we have to come back to remembering it's not in his will, or, if it's just not going to happen, and that's also okay. Even though I do have that desire. So, but yeah, it takes some like self-reflection, but I know for me during this time, it's really shown me how much I enjoy myself and love being around me. So I'm happy about that. And, people, my friends that are married or friends with kids are like, man, I got to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning still, even though I ain't got no job to go to. And for me, I'm like, that's interesting.
I know. You know what, Jasmine, though? Jasmine, the word says he will give you the desires of your heart. And, while I have children, a lot of people know my situation. It's like I'm reliving my 20s. But it's if we believe in God and we believe in his word and his promises, that we also have to be comfortable with his timing. And we can get caught up in this system of like, I'm this age and I got to have kids by this time. And I know I hit that point, I think early in my 20s where, everybody had, gotten out of college, they were getting married and settling down. And then I kind of felt the pressure to go that route. But then essentially I kind of restarted, like my whole clock restarted, because I personally believe I went ahead of God and tried to figure things out for myself. you know, and came to a screeching halt real quick. Like, oh, this what you picked? Okay, yeah, this what you got to deal with right now. So I think it's that whole process of being patient. And I want to say that I think Janet Jackson and Halle Berry have shown us it is possible to have children at a late age and still be fabulous. So 50 is the new 30, you know?
If I can ask Dree, if she doesn't mind rendering the audience about her distant relationship, has marriage been discussed, and is there a such thing as traditional marriage? Well, I know you said earlier you're not traditionalist, so let me. Has marriage been discussed? And if it has, since you're not a traditionalist, what does that look like moving forward for you? Reason why I asked you, I was married, and I realized moving forward, when she does come in my life, it will not be how marriage was what I thought it was.
Right.
And when
we're talking about it, we're talking about what marriage looks like for us, and if marriage is for us, because we are, older, so we don't know. We're working it out. We're deciding. We're not trying to do anything rash, anything quickly. We're just discussing it, exactly what it looks like. What does it mean? Why is it needed? If it's not marriage, what the legalities will look like, because marriage to me at this point is because if something happens to him, how would I handle it? Just things like that, just
for the longest he said marriage wasn't for you,
and and with him we haven't decided. We haven't decided what that'll look like. It's the first time I've said out loud in a public forum that marriage is not for me.
Thank you.
This is the first time I said.
Thank you I'm glad we was able to set the space for you for you to feel comfortable.
Yeah, so I have to talk to him about that tonight, that I actually said this out loud. So I really don't know. That's when we talk frequently and honestly about what we're looking for and what we expect from each other, because we met each other like in 2008, and then we broke up and I got married, and now he reintroduced himself to me, so we know each other. So exactly what we're going to do, we have no clue right now, but we're enjoying the process of getting to know each other. That's because I'm a fickle person. I'm a honeymoon person. So I'm not going to lie. Say it again, Mike.
Nothing wrong with that. Hopefully this quarantine is giving all of us a new reflection on embracing the process.
Yeah. He's a major germaphobe, so he have on gloves and all that stuff. He's a major germaphobe, so he was already quarantined in his life.
Gotcha.
I got a question for you guys too. So my question is, so while we're quarantining and Dree, while you're doing this long distance thing, I feel like the older I get, I'm perfectly okay with my space. Like, I'm good. You hit that point. I don't know for everybody, but you good by yourself, But if you start off dating and cultivating these relationships in a space of separation, could it turn into a preference that you prefer to be together but not physically be together? Like, you can.
I could. I don't know if he could, but I could, because I know I'm better that way, and that's a horrible thing to say.
Oh no! Don't freeze.
I don't think it's a horrible thing to say. It's just those of us who are, in a sense, we prefer to follow tradition. Yeah, that'll be hard to hear, Dree. We, if anything, we try to circle you back. Hey, no, you should do it this way, because that's how a woman and a man's supposed to. Like, no, you're not. You're not worried about the Joneses.
Say it again, Mike. I think we missed all of that.
We've been yours for Dree. Go ahead, Michael. Yeah.
Can you repeat yourself? I don't think we heard any of that. It was freezing.
I honor your position on not being traditionalist and not worried about being ringed in to how you should be according to society. You and your boo's relationship.
Did she freeze again?
Froze again.
Can you hear Dree? Did it freeze up?
Yeah.
It's like going in and out. I can hear her. Okay, and she's. Can you hear Dree?
I can now.
Okay. He was commending you on your stance for not being traditional.
Okay.
That's the short version, but I'll let you. You can say it, Michael. She can
Yes,
hear.
Dree, I was just saying that I commend you for not allowing society to include your inner circle, friends and family who care about you, who think they know best for you, to trying to corral you back on how you and your boo should be according to society. And you're not following. You're not. You decided not to move forward with that. You're doing about things your way. So I commend you on that.
Oh yeah, it's grown out already.
I think that's cool.
I had this conversation with a close relative of mine about.
Okay.
She's also in a distant relationship.
Well, we're gonna try and figure it out. So we're working on it, and we'll see what the end result is.
Her is going in and out.
Right. She's in a long distance relationship as well, and we were discussing not living with your significant other.
Yeah.
And we both agree that it actually feels good to have your own domicile, but also have that safe space to welcome him or her in. But she has her own, or he has his own. You have your own. That is definitely goes against what we're doing, what is asked of us, which is to have a home with someone else and have joint ownership. No, you don't necessarily have to. You can also find that comfortable space of being with yourself and also being with him or her.
Yeah.
And whether
you
it be
decide to
the
get with
physical
that
side,
person.
emotional side.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, whether it be on the physical, emotional, spiritual, take care of yourself first so you can be ready for him or her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Definitely.
I was gonna say the importance of learning how to be separate. Like when you do when you do marry someone, you have to learn how to also give that person their space. You know, so and to still have and be able to maintain your individuality within that relationship, because so often people can get married and lose themselves in their spouse to the point where they're not the same person they were when they got together. And so learning how to maintain that balance, that of individuality and space, and being able to come together and enjoy each other, but not taken away from who you are. And just because you have your space and your own thing you like to do doesn't mean that you don't want to be, with that person,
I think that's my biggest problem with marriage is I'm afraid to lose myself. I love the hell out of Dree. I do. I love her to death. And when somebody says that they love me, but they want me to change who I am, that's hard for me because I don't know who else to be other than me. So when you want me, even though when I change my last name, that means I'm supposed to change who I am. I don't know how to do that. So every relationship I've been in, people expect me to change. And I'm like, changing to who? If I go into the hat and come out somebody else, I don't know how to do that. So that's the reason I can say that I don't want to be married because I don't want to be anybody else. You met me this way, love me this way, allow me to change and evolve as I grow, not because you say change right now.
Right.
That doesn't work for me.
Do you think that's just a matter of questioning before you get married, or are there certain questions that could be asked to see if that person will actually allow you and not press you to turn into someone else, that you will still be the same person you were,
Well, usually to me, what's happened with me and the people that I've spoken with, a man can say a lot of things, but once you get that ring and change the name, they say, my wife is this and my wife is that. That's not what we talked about before we got married.
It's like
But you've done it now. Yeah, they do the bait and switch on you and you be like, whoa, who am I with and I don't like you. That's my experience. But if somebody was truthful with it, then I think I could deal with it. But I don't know. I'm afraid to test it.
Yeah. Do you feel like there were 2 questions you could have asked before you got married? Like when you got in the thick of it, like had you known to ask those questions?
Yeah, I know now. That's the reason I asked and I try to get valid information, not just I say this and you say that. I say this and you say that. And your action speaks better than your words a lot of times. So I'm learning what I'm looking for.
Go ahead, Michael. Are you gonna say something?
I was thinking about the statement you brought up in regards to post quarantine, many of us who will be anxious to reconnect, conclude, on bended knee already because I've been away so long. Like, wait a minute. Now, for those of us on the stream today, how do we be mindful of that? And once the quarantine is lifted, how are you going to be? How are you preparing yourself for the anxious wave that's coming from those of us who've been anxious throughout the quarantine?
You know what,
Without
Michael? I
like,
feel like
without like fanning people off or being
right.
antisocial. Like, no, I embrace you, but
Yeah. You know what? I
let's
feel
enjoy the process.
right. It's an amazing process, and I feel like this time of quarantine is like exercising. Like there are that exercise of getting to know yourself and what you want will become muscle memory, like your tolerance for things and certain behaviors and activities, and so that when the gates lifted, so to speak, that anxiousness won't be there because you've been practicing the way that you are for so long. You know what I'm saying?
I like that. Yeah, I
Kind
like
of
that.
settle into yourself, and you're comfortable where you're at, and you won't get to a place where you feel like you're missing anything because you've gotten into this cycle with yourself. So you're not going to be moved by, all the urgency. And those are the people that just kind of been sitting by the door waiting for the knob to turn.
Yeah.
The people that have been in the room doing the work, exercising their mind, their emotions, getting in tune with themselves, like that. It's like, I'll say like this: I've gone for long periods of time not drinking soda. I've gone for long periods of time drinking soda. And when you have those moments where you don't drink it for a couple months, in your mind, like if you're watching enough TV and commercials, you may be kind of compelled to go get one, but your physical memory is that your body hasn't been drinking that. So the minute you try to get it and do what the norm is, what everybody else is doing, it's almost like your body rejects it because that's not what you've been practicing.
Yeah.
So kind of like coming out the quarantine, like if you've been doing that self-care, self-dating, pacing yourself, I don't feel like you're going to switch up suddenly.
And hopefully that's true, because I know I've been on the quest that I'm on for the past 2 years. Reaching inside myself, figuring out who I am, what do I want. So when this person
Likewise,
definitely wanting to date me, then I knew the boundaries. I knew what I was looking for. I knew the questions to ask. So I'm with you. This quarantine is not freaking me out in that aspect because I was already doing it. So all this is doing is just clarifying where I am and slowing this pace down. Because he couldn't come here this weekend, which means we can't see each other. But we have to communicate again to figure out, because there are times when you're not with your mate. What do? How do you function? How do you deal with the loneliness? Because you're alone doesn't mean you have to be lonely. So those are the things that I work on constantly, is working on me. Because I know a lot of the things that I've dealt with in my past is because of me, because of my upbringing, because of how I see men. I have to be able to look at myself a different way in order to attract the right man that fits my personality. So I've been working on it.
That's amazing.
Speaking of working on, I too share your I share your outlook on what love is, and to me, love is acceptance. It's synonymous with freedom. So I had it just didn't happen during the quarantine. So I embraced a new approach to how I use the term love. If I say love, that means I accept you for who you are going to become, who you have yet to become, who you were, as well as the situation. I'm just a little more mindful about, one, when I'm using the term, and of course, two, what it actually really means to me now, which is freedom, acceptance.
Yeah.
So how soon are you quick to use the L word? And how do you know that you're really able to accept that person for who they are and all the different things you named out?
Put it in context. I'm very careful how I use the word love, and how I express it with verbally with family. But in regards to a relationship, if you will, I'll use it through action. I'll show love through actions. But if I was to actually say the term, I would say it in a manner where where she knows that I accept you for who you are, and we're trying to make you someone that you're not. And there's no timestamp on when they say actual "I love you." Hopefully, it will be seen through actions and eventually through the words of my mouth, which is meditated from my heart, my mindset.
Mm-hmm. Have you guys done the love language test before?
Yes.
Look forward to doing it again. Yeah.
Yes. Me and my friend did it. He did it. I had already read it, and he had already read it also. So we come, our love language is the same. So it's perfect.
What is it?
I like quality time.
You like quality time?
Quality time is my major love language.
Now, how do you do that long distance?
You can have quality time with a person on the phone. You can have quality time when you go on vacations together. You can have quality time when you come here. It doesn't mean it have to be 24/7. Quality time does not mean you have to be together all the time. It's the time that you're together is quality.
Okay. That's a good answer. I like it.
That was a good answer.
Will this quarantine help us redefine those love languages?
Oh.
Wait, what'd you say?
Will the quarantine help us redefine those love languages? Those in practice?
Redefine like you think they're gonna change because of the quarantine?
Yeah.
Because you're looking inside yourself, so you might find what your real love language is, opposed to what you think it is. Awesome, I like it.
I like that question. That's a great question. I want to ask you guys this. So, how do you feel when you're getting to know somebody? I don't even know if I should ask this part. Let me think how to ask this. How into what you do should the person you're connected to be? Like, are you either good with them just being aware of your lifestyle and what you do and not really being involved, or do you expect there to be like this immersive mindset where they're fully like into what you do and vice versa? Like, are you cool with two separate paths, or do you expect them to fully understand and be involved in what you do?
I make sure I do not set myself up for failure by expecting anything. Yet, I'm learning that there are so many there's so many ways of communicating. So I need to ensure that I'm communicating through that when we are making time to have those heart-to-heart discussions. Make sure that I'm transparent, upfront, and likewise, she can also have that space to be transparent and upfront. So I'm not expecting, or so she's not expecting anything from me, or vice versa. And when those things don't happen, now we are in conflict.
Would you be offended if she wasn't inquisitive about what you do in your day? Like, would that concern you?
No, because the process.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that she doesn't need to know everything right now. If she speaks with me, she'll know.
As time goes on, and if you guys are together, it's like some months or whatnot, but she still ain't really asking you stuff. Like, how would you feel about
and vice versa? I won't pose those 50 questions that 50 Cent had way back when. No, I'll ask a few, but if anything, I'll ask: are you willing to further the cause? Are you willing to embrace the process?
Do you think that's a male-female thing? Maybe it's the journalist in me, but I ask a million. I want to know everything. I want to know what flower you smelled when you walked up to the door. I want to know what colors the sunset on Monday near your car.
Of course I do, but I wouldn't ask it right then. I want to know through the duration of the process.
I want to know all of it. You ladies, are you guys nosy like that?
But my question is, China, if they're not that person that can answer all those questions right then what?
So I've had to check myself because I could get highly frustrated, and from my experience, guys so like my ex-husband is a writer, like all day. Like, I love words. Like, that's partially why we got together, because his spelling was impeccable and the complete sentences and the grammar, the punctuation was just amazing.
Talk about love language, no pun intended.
It was amazing. So he's a writer, but then like when I would talk to him, he had these moments where he can go on tangents with stories and like just capture the moment of the stories. And he would do it more so in writing, but then in conversation, I'd be like asking him like, yo, like, come on, what else happened? You know? Like, then I read something, I'm like, you didn't say all that. That's not what I asked. Why did you answer? So I'm having to adjust to the lack of response and not be offended when they don't have a lot of words.
Yeah, you have to.
Bothers
me. I think you're setting yourself up. I mean, because from what I've been told is that men are very simple. And like when you're asking them to give more specific and complicated answers, like we're the ones with 10,000 knobs and buttons and switches, and they're just like, yes, no, like, dislike. And so now you're asking them like, what smell did you smell? And he's like, there was something to smell, like, you know,
like clean or dirty,
like yes, no, like, dislike is all I smell.
Is that fair? Is that fair? Do you?
No, it's not fair, right? I think it's situational. I too have thousands of questions to ask her. It's just when I ask her. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I do too. I want to know. I want to get to know this person. I'm mindful of the timing.
That's what Pastor Torrey said when he was deciding whether he should marry Sarah Jakes Roberts. He said that when he met her, because both of them are through Potter's House, her dad's ministry, and he said he knew that she was the one. He wanted to marry her immediately, but he knew that was out of the question. So he had to slowly ask the right questions, slowly, know the right time when to present the ring. He had to ask, but he knew, but he couldn't bombard her too quickly because he had to make sure she was ready when he was ready.
Right.
So to answer your question about whether I want a person do what I do, it depends. It depends if they can handle me in that space. If you come to take over my space, find your own space. Because I'm gonna respect your space. I know how to be the leader in my game.
Yeah.
I know how to let you be the leader in your game. And then we can create something for ourselves, but you don't have to be in my events if you don't want to. Yeah. You don't have to do anything pertains to my events if you don't want to. Just love me. Because when I lift my hand and I'm your girl, I want to be your girl, not, oh, you remember was at the event and this and that? That's not your space.
Yeah.
And
that's important that you're saying that, because some people can equate you didn't show up to my space, so you're not supportive, or you're not moving in my space to where I need you to, so you're not being supportive. And maybe they're not comfortable in that space.
Right.
They just want to be here for you.
That's why it's critical to have those conversations about who you are, where you want to go, and whether or not this person can support that in different facets. To include, maybe I don't have to be in the space, but I support because we had a conversation.
Yeah. So
continue to have this conversation.
My answer is a little different. So, but it's been a journey because, like Michael was saying, I didn't want to put expectations, and then like if I meet a suitable partner, and they'd be like, well, you don't do this, so you have to be out. But what I've realized for me is that I need to be with somebody who likes to hang out with me, to hang out. And so like, if you don't like concerts, if you don't like artsy stuff, if you don't like theater, that can get really annoying.
I'm sure you get all that stuff.
But mainly if you're an introvert, like the last two guys that I was getting to know and dated, they're both introverts, and it just didn't work. And some of my mentors in the city, like they're really strong Black women in the city, and their husbands, I've never seen their husbands ever after knowing them several years, and they are completely fine with that. And I was like, well, maybe I can be okay with that. You know, he's at home, it's fine, or he went to work and then he's at home chilling or whatever. And no, I'm not okay with that.
Yeah. You know what's funny? And Reginald said something that kind of supports what we're saying. He said, but if that's what you like and that's what you need, then so be it. Like, you basically shouldn't have to change up based on the person you're with. Like, if that's going to help you feel more fulfilled in that relationship, then it's okay to say, I need you to be present with me, or I need you to let me to ask you 1,000 questions and I need to answer to all of them.
And I think that ties back into love languages, because mine is acts of service. And so I guess if mine were quality time, I could understand more like, you need to be at this thing with me to like, but that still wouldn't be quality time because I'd be floating around or whatever. But mine is acts of service. So my thing is like, when you're around me and I'm out at an event and like, I'm like, man, I need a pen. And they're like, bam, here's a pen. Or, you know, man, I need a tissue. And they're like, handkerchief. Or, you know, any of that. Or like, I'm trying to carry this thing really heavy and he's right there already.
Yeah.
But he can't do any of that stuff if he's not there. And so that's how it is for me, where I'm like, acts of service ties right into him being present.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I do too. And see, with me, I want the quality time when we're by ourselves. Because if I'm in a group being Dree, San Diego Black Professional, that's not quality time. There's people saying, Dree this, Dree that, and I'm not giving him any time. He's sitting over in a corner somewhere or making his own way through the crowd. But if it's me and him going to a movie, he and I going to the concert, he and I going to brunch, that's me and him. I don't have to share nothing. I don't have to be nobody but me and this girl. That's what I like.
Yeah.
If I can add to your statement, on the outside looking in, I would say that is quality time because he's supporting your cause. He's supporting your cause. Now he doesn't have to be all up on you, if you will, but he's there, he's present, and that action shows, in my opinion. Again, this is on the outside looking in. It shows that he values the time, regardless of how much time you guys spend. Whatever you're doing, he's going to be there for your event.
So you know,
he can handle it.
Right? Does it have to be every event? No. But just the mere fact that he's there, in my opinion, outside looking in, that's quality time.
So it sounds like setting up those rules of engagement are important, because even in that, what you guys were just talking about, both of those definitions of quality time were a little different. So it's making sure that both people involved in the relationship have the same definition of what something looks like, and that they have explicitly outlined what the rules are in being in that relationship.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the big thing of love languages, is like how you give it versus how that person receives it.
Yeah.
And so, Michael, that might be how you would give it, is like, oh, I'm going to go to all of your events. Obviously, I'm doing quality time, but if she's not receiving that as quality time, then it's still, it's still not the best. So.
Let me ask you guys this question. So I'll make this our last. We have such a good conversation. This is so cool. So how and maybe too with you Jasmine, with the online dating. And so we're in this quarantine and there's all this great quarantine dialogue and isolated dating going on, and you feel like you've gotten a full understanding of this person. You know, they've been built up and you know who you're dealing with and you're excited about it. And let's say we're quarantined for a couple months. Like, don't do it. Hypothetical. I don't know. Take the conversation. And you get out the gate, you know, everybody's free, we're free, and
out the gate.
Their representative has been showing up during the whole quarantine.
Exactly.
How do you handle?
Interesting. I was thinking about that.
Use to get rid of the representative and actually get to the person. And maybe this can kind of go into the online dating too, with the apps and stuff, because there's representatives on there all day. So how do you get through to the real person?
Yeah, it's representative, and then you also have the threat of catfish, and people like actually not being who the picture that they showed you or the height that they showed you, or some of that too. But yeah, that's really why I've been single as long as I have, is because that representative always comes out, or representatives always eventually goes away, and then you see the real person. And so I've been able to see that within a few of the first like text messages, or just being in the app, where one guy's like asking me my whole life story. What's your last name? And I'm like, oh no. Okay, no.
And the background on the
and then some people, just their summary about themselves is real weird. And then people that I've gotten to know a little bit more beyond that, it's been cool. But I guess for me, some of them have asked me like, what are your expectations, or what are you looking for on the app? And I'm like, I'm just trying to get to know people that are outside of my my normal network at this point, because everybody that I've met in my network is not it's not relationally compatible, or hasn't really approached me or pursued me, for that matter. Like, I mean, there are some great guys in my network, but ain't hollered at me. So I'm like, okay, so I'm just at this point just looking to meet people outside of my network, and then if we both mutually decide that we want to take things further, then let's do that. But yeah, so we'll see. I mean, the guy that I did meet on there, that we decided to just be friends now, it was all of that, where it wasn't necessarily his representative, but it was actually who he was that was coming out for. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, you're definitely not ready. Like, there were some things like with his self-confidence, and I'm trying to encourage his self-confidence, and like, he's an entrepreneur, and so I'm like, oh well, this is what I did on my entrepreneurship journey. And I'm like, wait, I was doing that stuff like 3 years ago. And same thing like on his spiritual walk, mostly on the spiritual walk side, where now he's leading a ministry, and I'm like, well, I led a ministry like a few years ago. And so he's trying to deal with the battle of like still being yourself and a millennial with being a ministry leader. And I'm like, you're just figuring that kind of stuff out, of like how to be yourself and still be righteous, and still be wholesome and be moral. Like, you're still trying to figure that out. But he also was younger than me too. So yeah, it's just been interesting.
You need a cougar, Jasmine.
Look, hey, I don't know. I can't call it no more. People say I should date people 10 years older than me. People say I should date somebody. I don't know.
All relative. It does. Yeah.
So at this point, I'm just like getting to know people with like not the expectation that we're even going to be dating. It's like, I'm just getting to know you, and like, if you consider this dating by me telling you about my background and you telling me about yours, like, this is not a date. Like, we're not even at a date yet. Like, so we're definitely not dating.
Yeah. But let me ask you guys this, because you brought up something interesting. I know I asked another question, but this is what I really want to ask. So we know San Diego is that big. How do you deal with running into folk that might have been with the homeboy or the homegirl, or you done seen them, and like, how do you deal with that? It's rare that I rock with San Diego people, but how do you guys navigate that? Because I had a situation. I'm gonna tell you a little story. By myself getting on the app just for kicks, because I'm an introvert, and I'm like, I need to get out. Got on the app, I'm staying in a dude was cool, I didn't realize we were already Facebook friends though. Didn't realize. So, we're texting. We didn't talk on the phone, or texting. I'm like, cool. So then one day he's like, let's go bowling. And I'm like, okay. And I went to an event with some girlfriends, and I showed one of my girls. It must have been God, okay? Because I wasn't going to show her his picture, but I was like, girl, let me show you boo boo. And I literally turned my phone like that. She called his whole name the minute I flashed his picture. And I was like, You know him? She's like, girl, that's so-and-so. The homegirl was messing with him. They met at such and such event. I'm not gonna say the event. And so she's like, talk to the homegirl first. Don't go out with him. Well, the homegirl calls on three-way. She runs me down the whole situation. Like, there was pics Boo Boo had been sending her that were really like prison pics, but he tried to act like he was in the cousin's basement. He had a whole marital situation, and apparently the wife lived in the vicinity. Completely different story than what I got. And so, I mean, I was thankful that she was able to like put me up on game, because I was like, block, delete, nah, I'm good. But it was the fact that she was able to just run me all this information. And I'm like, is San Diego really that little? Like, is this what we have to deal with here? You know, like.
Yes. Let me answer that. That's why I do long distance relationships, because San Diego is so small, and it's not like I'm a everyday name, but San Diego is so small. You say my name, people gonna know who I am. And I don't want to date John, who dated Sarah, who dated Childa, who dated Jasmine. I don't want that. If I date somebody outside of San Diego County, then more likely they're not gonna know anybody I know. Not that I'm hiding anything, but I don't want to share like that.
Yeah.
That's the reason I do long distance relationship while I'm in San Diego.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Reginald.
I'm mindful that this is definitely a small pond, if you will. I have run into past relationships, or I've been out, and that was this my part at the time didn't inform me that I know him, or I know her. Like, okay. The way I've approached it is knowing that yes, this is a small vicinity, and you're bound to find yourself knowing someone who knows someone, and the 6 degrees of separation is definitely a lot more closer here in San Diego. I'll be mindful of that, Drea, about perhaps looking outside of my norm here in San Diego County, but regardless of who she is, whether it be San Diego County or Arizona, when God's ready, he'll
bring her along.
He'll bring her. Yes, thank you.
And that's the reason I like San Diego. That's why I like San Diego Black professionals, because it's a whole new group of people that's moved into San Diego.
Yeah.
So they have not been, for lack of a better term, tainted. They're new. They want to meet new people. They want to be around new people. They haven't been shared at all, because they're just not getting off the plane.
Shared.
So that's what I like to introduce African Americans and Black professionals to everyone, because it's like they're new. Get to know them. You know, let's pull them into the fold. A lot of times, people who are born and raised here shun people who are new. I'm like, why? Why would you want to dip in the same pond everybody else dipping into? Why would you want something new? But that's just me.
That share comment hit my spirit a little bit, like sharing a Facebook status. Just share.
Yeah.
That's scary. That's scary.
But then part of it too is like, what would somebody say about you? And how and that's the thing, is like, you have to be mindful of that too. And then, if what some man told another man about me, would I want him to now treat me completely differently based on what another man told him about me?
That's true. That's absolutely true.
Hence, you date long distance, so they don't have anything to say about you.
I'm about to go long distance from it.
So does that mean expanding the search on your app? So like Tinder, Bumble, all those, like you put a whole nother zip code in and then just see where it goes from there?
I don't do online dating. I literally meet people like the old fashioned way. I meet people out and about, when I travel, I meet people. I just meet people different ways, like the old school way. Yeah. At the grocery store, at the gas station.
When I did use the online dating service, I did. I did that. I put my zip code out of,
Really?
I actually, when I dated online, I dated out of the state, NorCal. I didn't. My online dating was not in San Diego County. This was like 5, 6 years.
Interesting. I mean, for me, at this point, I don't want anybody that's very far away. Yeah, I don't know. So, yeah, I mean, try dating San Diego dudes. No offense, kind of, sort of, maybe some offense. I don't know. It hasn't been popping.
So Reginald said, get to know somebody for yourself. They may treat you different. I'm kind of 50-50 on that because I feel like people should be able to redeem themselves. But had I not talked to the homegirl, she would tell me all the stuff I needed to know, and the fact that he didn't even tell me, there were some pertinent things he left out early on in the conversation.
When he was in jail?
I don't know about the jail part, but like that maybe he wasn't fully divorced and
yeah.
That's major.
Yeah. But then that's also one of those questions that you are supposed to ask. Like I don't ask a whole lot of things up front, but I'm like, okay, let's just get this out the way.
Are you married?
Right.
Does anybody think that you're married to them?
or even do you have a committed relationship? You could be in a committed relationship living with someone, especially in San Diego, and you're still not married to them, but you've been living with them for 5 years.
Well, but then they wouldn't consider it committed because then they're trying to date you. So then the question is, does anybody else think that you're in a committed relationship with them? Like, would anybody be upset if they found out you were trying to pursue me right now? Like, another question that I've gotten a couple times is like, do you have any STDs?
Yes.
Like,
and do you just like women? You just never know what people like. I keep it real because you just never know until you know. So why don't I just ask so I know?
Speaking of Jasmine, if I can add to that, your comment and the point that Chada brought up about when the quarantine is lifted and we're ready to interact again. All right. Some of those questions. Your health. Do you have any STD?
Did you have
quarantine? Right, during this quarantine, right? Did you have corona? During this quarantine, have you reevaluated your sexuality? Yeah.
I like that you said, have you reevaluated your sexuality? That's important.
Michael, you need to create some questions so we can ask them properly. Because you ask them properly. Yeah. That's a non-offensive way to ask the question.
Michael's good. Michael asks great questions. They're very thought out. I think, Dre, next time you have one of your speed dating events or something, or Jeffrey, the dating, I forgot what it was, but yeah, great. Those are great questions. And I think too, be nervous about what the response might be. Like, do we feel like we're putting somebody on the spot by asking that? Like, do we feel like, oh, I don't know if I should ask?
So actually, the person who asked me, did I have any STDs? It was because he had herpes. And so he asked me because that was a question he didn't ask before he contracted herpes. And so then his question was, are you okay with dating someone who has herpes?
That's very mature.
And he's like, I'm okay if you're not, but as someone with herpes, you have to tell the partner that. It's legal, your legal obligation to tell that person. And so he's like, before we go too far with any of this, like, I'm asking, are you married? Do you like me, or whatever? Are you dating? And then he's just like, I have herpes.
Did you give him a hug, Jasmine? I just would have.
Girl, this is through online. Oh. So ain't no hugs, and we in Corona, so no hugs necessary. But
that was huge for him.
And he was 6 feet apart. We're just like,
that was huge for him to ask you that. That was huge.
I mean, it's literally your legal obligation if you have an STD to tell someone that you have it. Right. And so for that, it wasn't that I said, no, I don't want to date you because you have this. And so like we actually still got to know each other. But for me, I was just like, well, this is interesting because I'm not even considering having sex with you, but I'm glad that you told me like before we got to that point. But yeah, and then so it grew, our friendship and our communication grew, but it actually had me do some research. Like, okay, if stuff does happen, like, okay, how can this be contracted?
Yeah.
Could I have kids with a partner who has an STD? Like, what does that look like? But yeah, so yeah, those are important questions. Like, what did you smell when you walked in? Is I'm not really sure, but like there are some definite first date or like first text questions or close to first text questions that you should ask.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Y'all done had y'all here for an hour and 40 minutes. I love talking to you.
Likewise, this was enriching.
When we on the phone, we were on the phone for what, 2 hours?
Look, right? I'm saying. Marshawn messaged me. She felt so bad. She was getting her car situated and she's still working through that. So she's like, I'm so sad that I missed it, but we're going to have to bring her back on. But I think it was just good to have a conversation about like everybody's mindset about dating and what we're doing or what y'all doing. I don't know what I'm doing right now. I'm working. So I'm not even like thinking about dating really. No.
You can be working for the rest of your life. You got to find your man. Stop playing.
Well, okay.
I think the man that I get with is not going to be from here. I don't even know, honestly, guys. I don't even know if he'll be African American. I'm at that point in my life, so he might be from another country. I don't know. So I'm just, we'll see on one of my journalistic journeys.
As long as he makes you happy, it doesn't matter.
Great. Listen.
He can be orange and came down on spaceship from Mars. As long as he makes you happy, well, you make yourself happy. As long as he contributes to your happiness.
Yes,
it's all good.
Is it safe to say you are, in a sense, thinking about dating? Just not in a different framework than some of us, but you are.
You know what? I am. I'm not, and then I am, and then I'm not. And so, having been married, I have to work through my stuff. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I have my weeks where I'm like, yeah, I'm ready. Let's go. And then some stuff will surface and I'm like, I don't want to be bothered. I'm good. So it's taking that time, that self-dating like you're talking about, and then noticing those patterns within myself. But ultimately I'm waiting on God. I really am. And I believe he knows the best timing. I believe there's purpose in unions.
Yes.
And relationships, and he knows when to bring the person along. I'm finicky a lot. So one day I might like you, and then 2 days later I'm like,
I don't like you anymore.
Not today.
But then that's how relationships go. Some days it's great, and some days you be like, can you just go home? I'm not mad, but can you go home? You know? And you have to have someone that can handle that part of your personality, because I know that's me.
That's real. And not be offended because that's the space. You know? Yeah. But I like company. I like to be in good company. I like to have fun. That doesn't always equate dating for me. Like I might like to chill with you just because I like being around you. But that doesn't necessarily mean I want to be in a committed relationship.
Yeah.
So I'm moving forward by not using the construct of dating. I haven't for a while, but when I was actually in a situation with a young lady, we had that conversation did come up about, so like, no, we won't be dating. We'll be getting to know each other. And that's not what society wants to hear. They want to hear we're dating, or we're in a committed relationship. No, you're not my boo. I'm not. No,
But a lot of people don't know what getting to know you means, because people don't know what getting to. Because we're not taught that. We're not taught to get to know each other. We're just taught to be with each other. I met him last night, girl. He my boo. No, he's not.
Right.
No, he's not.
Sorry, sis.
Right.
No. I think those are great points. I think the thing I love the most about the whole quarantine talk is being okay with yourself and spending that time to date yourself. You know, you can always pull people into the equation and spend that time with them, that quarantine time. But if you're not real with yourself, and what you want. Like Jasmine said, when he asked her that question, like she really had to assess, like, you know, what if it did fall in love with him? What if it did progress? Are you okay internally with what he's bringing to the table? Is he worth dealing with that?
Mm-hmm. I mean, another guy that I met at one point, not on the dating app, but in person, he told me he had a vasectomy. He has 2 kids and a vasectomy. And so he's like, so we can have a lot of fun. And I'm like, no, what part of fun is that? Like, you know, I'm sure. Right. So that was definitely a deal breaker. But yes, it's a lot of different kinds of people.
I've got
the deal breakers. I'm gonna also ask you. I'll be rethinking what are deal breakers and what are deal breakers for her.
Yeah,
It doesn't make any sense anymore moving forward. With post, once we come out of quarantine, those deal breakers you had, do they still matter?
Yeah.
Do you have new deal breakers?
Hear you completely. You said, what are your deal breakers?
No, what are her deal breakers now? What were they before post? Excuse me, before COVID. What are my deal breakers? What will they be once the quarantine's lifted?
That's important too, because real talk, there are a lot of people who lost family members and have been put in like dire straits, you know, whether it's job loss or having to move. Somebody's gonna have to move because of this, and life has just been turned upside down. And so what they thought was important before COVID-19 is absolutely not important right now. Right. Not at all. So yeah, I think that's important. Yeah. Thank you guys for getting on this live with me. I told Marshawn, I said, girl, I got to do it. I said 4:00. We going to do something. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Keep my word. So I think it was time well spent. We're still going to get Marshawn on. She definitely wants to get on. Yes. Later this week, we're going to pull in a childcare provider she has an amazing daycare, and she's going to be talking to people about what they need to do with their little ones so they can navigate. So maybe giving them some best practices that she had at her space, helping parents navigate. So it's a little commercial plug for everybody watching. But I hope we can revisit this dating conversation. You guys give us updates too. So as this like goes on for you, like keep us posted. You know, Michael, let us know what things have changed or what you've reassessed, you know, or somebody was in your DM after this live, you know what I'm saying? They didn't.
Likewise, keep us all posted. Jasmine, thank you for your dialogue. It was a pleasure.
Thank you guys. This was amazing. We definitely needed this.
Cool. And Dree, let us know when there's a Black professional situation happening virtually so we can all support.
Well, tomorrow I'm doing we're doing a Facebook Live with Young Black and in Business.
Oh yeah,
so it's going to be me and a couple other educators. I'm doing a little math demo.
Yeah.
And Sade, she's with LeMay School Board, and then Stacy, she's an administrator. So that's tomorrow evening.
And that's a Zoom, right?
It'll be on Facebook Live.
Okay. We'll chime in for that. Blake and Ollie, thanks for chiming in. And Reginald, thank you guys.
Yay. Congratulations, Reggie.
Yes, congratulations, man.
Put a ring on it.
Brother Reggie.
And I see Brian was on here too, and Michael Allen, a couple other people, I think. But yeah, thank you guys all for chiming in. So we'll come back with some updates.
All right. Have an amazing day in the meanwhile, everyone.
You too.
Good night, everybody. Love y'all. Bye.
Bye.